Hi, welcome to Shell's Pearls of Wisdom. I am here with the beautiful pinup Rose, a.k.a.
Candy apple red.
Candy Apple Red. And if you guys see the acronym on that, it says CAR. So she is just putting it right out there, her love of vintage cars in the pinup world right in front of your eyes. So thank you for being on the show, Rose. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, honey. How are you?
I'm good. As soon as we got everything together with our camera and stuff, we have been going through the flux with my Zoom.
We have, but you know what? A little perseverance never hurt
Yes,
anybody.
we turned a no into a yes. We were gonna get this done.
Yes, we did.
um, just to give you guys an idea, we've been trying to connect since 12 o'clock this afternoon, her 10 o'clock her time, and it is now 3:40 my time. And what time is it there?
140.
1:40. So to kind of give you an idea of how long this has been going on. But we did it, and that's what we pinups do. We always fight through, and we always make it to the end because we have goals and we always achieve. So this is just no different. So Rose, I'm just gonna start with some just basic information from you. So just let the people out here know where are you from, how old are you, and all that good stuff.
I am from sunny California. I have a little place called Sacramento. It's the capital. You may know it. And I am 50 years old.
And doesn't she look fabulous? When she told me that off camera, I actually wanted to take her for a polygraph because I thought she was lying. But I guess you know what? California's doing her good because she looks great.
Might be genetics, but I don't think so.
And I love the red hair. I love it. It fits everything. I love it. Um, so just to like start some stuff off, just to give you guys a little bit of basic about Rose, she is a mother of 5, and she is a grandmother of 10. You said?
Yes, 10. My last one was just born a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Oh, you had a quarantine baby?
Yeah, I have a brand new baby. I haven't even been able to see her yet because of
Oh,
quarantine. But yes,
yeah, I know that has to be hard.
yeah, little Amelia came into the world 2 weeks ago.
Oh, well, congratulations. And I love the name Amelia. That is such a pretty name. I love it. It's like vintage. I love it. I love it. I love it.
It is.
I
And
love
who
Amelia
doesn't
and
love Amelia
Olivia.
Earhart? Yeah, and Amelia Earhart. Who doesn't love that?
Another strong woman in our history. I'm just saying. Um, so I kind of got a little bit of information from Rose before, kind of like what I do with all the girls, just to get an idea of like what she's been through, what her struggles have been. And just like every woman before her, Rose has a journey that she has taken that has started at the wee bitty age of 3, from when she really started her life struggle. And I have to sit here and say that I haven't even heard it all, but just from what I've heard, I already have an immense respect for you and
Oh,
everything
yeah.
that you have gone through, and the fact that you raised 5 beautiful children of your own who are all healthy and thriving, and now you got your grandbabies too. I can see why you're known as the community mom for a lot of your kids' friends and family. I understand that now. So after you guys get done seeing or hearing Rose's story, you'll understand why too. So let's get started. Like I said, it started at the age of 3. Kind of let us know about what was going on at that such a young age.
Well, at my earliest memory is when I was 3 years old. Is when I started being sexually abused by members of my stepfather's family, um, and not really understanding what was going on, but knowing that it was frightening, and kind of having to deal with the fact that that was my normal from that point out in my life, because it spiraled up from there, from his family to my actual stepfather, who adopted me when I was 3 months old. He put his name on my birth certificate. But when I was 7, he started sexually abusing me. But My mother and he had alcohol and drug problems. Physical, emotional, and sexual abuse was normal for me. That was our house. However, at some point, there were people who came in and out of my life who told me that, outside of this house, I would have choices, and that it wouldn't always be that way. And so I really strove to reach that place from the time I was, I think I was 8 or 9. I had a really great teacher in 3rd grade who helped me realize that I was super smart,
Yeah.
and school became my refuge. And I really excelled academically despite everything that was happening in my home. Um, I went to school with a joy and a zeal uh, that was apparent in my grades. I was a straight A student, and I was a part of a gifted and talented education program from the time I was in 3rd grade. I left her class in 4th grade, going to classes at the 6th grade level on campus.
Oh,
And
wow.
that continued through junior high school and part of high school, actually.
So did
So
you feel like, Rose, with um kind of like you have like a little bit of a different situation with the school aspect. A lot of the girls I've talked to, school was not a fun time. It's a lot of where a lot of the hate and teasing and feeling out of place and not belonging happen. So with the fact that your home life was not the best and school was your refuge, did you find yourself excelling because you felt like that would be more way for you to throw yourself into that and not have to think about home life, not have to think about what's going on there?
I, I'm I was still bullied. Uh, Kids in my grade didn't like me because I thought that I was better than them. And
Because
then
you were so smart.
I spent a lot of time with older kids. And then the older kids didn't like me because here I am in their class doing the things that they're supposed to be doing them, and I'm better at it. It was
Yeah.
a hard time. But at the same time, as I said, there were people who came in and out of my life who said, you're going to be able to make choices one day. And for me, I took that as education was my way out.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't live in the best of neighborhoods. I think I told you if you looked up white trash in the neighborhood, you would have seen a picture of my family. Um, so for me,
You want to be in there now, baby girl. And that was it. And
no,
let me
I
tell
don't
you,
fit in
you
there.
you wouldn't have been in the dictionary. No, your mom and your
My
father,
mom, yeah, a
but
lot of
you
my
wouldn't
family
have.
would have been.
I don't
But
think you've ever been white trash. So don't even put that label on you.
well, my mom used to love to, you're never going to be better. You're never going to come out. You think you're better than everybody else, but you're not.
That's just
It was
misery loves company, baby. She was
Yeah, and she
miserable.
she
Yeah.
she loved to tell me it was a good thing I found out I was smart, because with this space, I was never going to catch a man, and I was going to have to take care of myself.
Oh wow. Oh, that's such a loving
Okay.
mom.
Well,
Right.
listen, honey. Um, so yeah, no, that education for me was the key in the lock on the gate.
To get
That
the hell
was
out.
yeah, I need to get the hell out. And it was the one thing I knew I could do that nobody would be able to take away from me.
Wow.
So they can take everything. They can take your house, your car, your money. They can take all of that, but they can't take the things that you know.
Yeah. Knowledge is when they say knowledge is key, that is true. That's what it
Oh,
means. It unlocks
and
many
power.
doors. Yep.
Knowledge is key and knowledge is power. So
Yeah.
the more you know.
The more you know. Now,
Hmm.
to kind of go back, I know you said that you had teachers that kind of came in and out of your life, people that were really encouraging to let you know that you are going to be better than this moment that you're in.
Hmm.
But when you told your mom, I think you said you were 9 years old
Yeah.
and you found out about what had been going on with your stepfather and the other members of his family. How did she handle it?
She called me a liar. She did basically what my stepfather had been telling me during the whole time was, nobody's ever going to believe you. Um, and if it's not you, it would be my baby sister. And uh, my baby sister was born with a heart defect. I was very protective of her.
Oh, wow.
She was my best friend. She knew, and she always had my back. She knew everything. Um, so when my mom found out, she called me a liar, just like he said he would. Um, and the abuse became worse. It was no longer hidden. It was without fear or without punishment. He knew he could do whatever he wanted to me until I was 12, when my best friend, I had confided in her when she proclaimed she had a crush on my stepdad, which Lord help her. I told her, and apparently, circumstances sometimes tend to coincide with each other. My grandmother felt that there was something wrong in our home, and she contacted the authorities, and they talked to her, and then they went to my best friend and they talked to her, and they came to my school. And it just so happened that at this time, we were homeless because my mother had gone to jail for prostitution, and my dad had taken all our money and spent it, and we lost our home. And they came to the school, my junior high, and sat me down in the office and said, "Hey, somebody said that maybe you might not be okay." And at that moment, I knew that I could say to this person, this lady police officer, I wish I still knew her name, because I would tell her she saved my life.
Oh,
Um, I was at 12 years old, I was suicidal. Um, but the only thing that kept me from doing anything to harm myself was that I was protecting my baby sister, because if I was gone,
then it would be her.
who would take care of her?
Yeah.
Who
Oh,
would
God.
who would protect my little brothers, who were like 2 and 3? No, yeah, 2 and 5, and had no idea, of course, at their tiny little minds had no idea of the extent of everything that was going on. This is a brand new life to them.
Right.
Um, but the
Girl, you got me
police,
over here. Thank God I didn't put no eyelashes on Rose.
mine are magnetic, baby. Don't worry. Um, so the cops pulled my sister and myself out of school that day, and we went into protective custody at a children's receiving home. And I never felt so safe for the first time in my life. My sister was okay, and I was okay, and they were going to fix this. Um, my mother, of course, continued to lie, said she didn't know anything about it. She got custody of my sister and I back, and she had to finally file divorce papers against my stepfather, which was 13 years in the coming. But
Right.
uh, yeah, so we ended up moving from one neighborhood to another. I became a ward of the court, but in my mother's custody. Um, yeah, but my life changed.
Yeah.
Um, the man
Can I
she ended
ask
up,
you a question, Rose?
sure,
Are
sure.
your um are your baby brothers half brothers or are they full brothers?
All of my siblings are half, including my sister. My mom had me when she was 17. She married the man who would become my adoptive father 3 months after I was born in December of 1970. He was in the Army. My biological father was a full 10 years her senior, and he was not allowed to see me or have anything to do with me. I finally met him when I was 16. Boy, talk about some puzzle pieces falling into place. I always felt really out of place in my home. Like I wasn't the same as everybody else in my family. I wasn't
You were like the black sheep.
I wasn't loud. I wasn't interested in the things that they were. I was very quiet and retrospective, and um, I just didn't do the things that they did. I wasn't interested in the things that they did. And when I met my biological father, I was like, oh, he was very quiet, very tall,
Mm-hmm.
big man. I'm 5'2", and my mother is 5'11". My biological father is 6'4", and I always felt really weird. But then I realized my biological grandmother on my mother's side was a very tiny Irish Portuguese woman, and I didn't know the Portuguese were so small until I met more Portuguese people. So I'm Portuguese and Irish, and then Dutch and
Oh,
German on my
that's a nice little mix. I've never heard
yeah,
that one.
and then I'm Dutch and German on my biological father's side, but apparently I'm very Portuguese Irish because, honey, I can drink and I got a temper.
Hey,
Hey.
hey, that might have been your like little protection armor over you to have that. So
It might have been. And then just being able to sit back and think to myself without saying too much, like my biological father. He's very quiet, very
you
personal
still in
man.
contact with him now, or?
I am not. I lost contact with him when I found out when my half brother, through him and his wife, was killed in a bicycle accident when he was 17.
Wow.
My father went even further into himself and moved back to Missouri, and I haven't heard from him since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we know that you were gifted, very intelligent. This you said lasted all the way into your high school career,
Yeah.
and then you kind of said that things kind of got a little sketchy around the high school time, where
Oh, yeah.
but you kind of had a little bit of a wild child moment, a
I
little,
think, yeah,
a little,
I
little
think,
bit.
I think now that the discipline had loosened, like there was no real fear of this man, because in my home as a younger child, daily beatings were a normal thing. With him gone, uh, discipline seemed to be a little looser. My mother was still uh, verbally and physically abusive, but I think because of the man she was with after she got a divorce, the man I claim as my dad was a very gentle soul. I kind of got to be a little wild. I discovered boys, or they discovered me, um, and I started cutting class and doing drugs, and I had a daughter when I was 15.
Oh wow,
Um,
you were young,
yeah,
baby.
I was, but I was determined to prove because my mother found out I was pregnant. I told her too late to get an abortion on purpose. Um,
Oh, because she would have made you.
yeah. And then I had contemplated giving her up for adoption, but the adoption stipulations were not to my liking. And I felt her move.
Oh, yeah.
And my mother told me that I didn't have the patience to be a mom. And I was like, I looked her in the eye. I said, I've raised your kids. What are you talking about? So we ended up in a fist fight. I was 5 months pregnant.
With your mom?
Yeah, she slapped me when I had raised her kids. So we got into a fist fight. um,
She fought a pregnant girl. She fought her pregnant 15-year-old daughter.
she did.
Oh
But that's,
wow.
you got to, when I think about it, I knew my mother, and that just makes sense. To other people, it doesn't, of course.
Yeah.
But
To me, it
I would,
doesn't. I can never
I
imagine
would
us
never,
getting into a fist
I would
fight.
never hit a pregnant woman, let alone
Right.
my pregnant daughter.
Right. That's what I'm
Um,
saying. Like that's like unheard of. But yeah.
so I promptly moved out to my grandmother's house and got a job. I was an in-home care worker for my grandmother and her father.
Okay.
Then I married uh, not my daughter's father, but my best friend in high school. And
Oh.
I was 16, he was 17, and had my second daughter. By the time I was 19, I had 3 daughters. But we fell into roles that we had witnessed. I became an abused wife, and he became an abuser, both, physically and with drugs. The roles that we fall into so easily are amazing.
You practice what you see.
Yeah, and
It's kind of hard.
it's so comfortable. It's frightening. You know it's wrong, but it feels so
Right.
right. It's weird. But then after being homeless a couple times and because of our drug addiction, I gave up drugs just after my 20th birthday. That was it. New Year's Eve, 1990. My son was born the following October, so I had been clean a whole month when I got pregnant with him, and I haven't been back.
Oh my God.
Um,
So how many years sober is that?
28 years.
Holy
When I think about, I don't think
cow.
about it. It's hard for someone who has been a drug addict to think about it in terms of years. It's always I'm still clean. I'm
Yeah.
still clean. It isn't until you tote them up that you go, wow, I've been clean a long time.
Wow. It's
My husband,
amazing.
my son will be 29 this coming October. So yeah, I've been clean
Do
28
your
years.
children know how much you sacrificed and gone through to be the kind of mother that you are now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, my daughter Meryl, my second daughter, um, we are really really close, and my two boys and I, we are really really close. One of my daughters actively goes in and out of addiction. Her daughter actually lives with me. Um, and then I have a daughter who has had issues. We're working on it. She's got her own issues that we work on. But yeah, they're aware um, of the things and the struggles that I've been through to be the mom that I am. We
I
just
mean,
had actually we
that's
actually just
awesome
had
that
an
you
incident
shared that with
today.
them.
Yeah,
That's
well, and here's the thing is I have always been really upfront and honest with my kids about
yeah.
uh, what being young and pregnant is like, what being an addict is like. And thankfully, I've only got one child who struggled with it. And I feel like some of that blame goes to me because when I was pregnant with her, I was struggling.
Mhm.
Um, but I've been really honest about how it affects your life and how there are always going to be moments where you have to make a decision and you have to kind of look down the road. It's not about right this minute. You have to think about the future and where this road is going to lead you
Absolutely.
eventually. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I've always been very upfront and honest with my kids about all of the things I've gone through. Nothing in my life is a secret. Um, I feel like it's the best thing that you can do as a parent is that we are fallible. We are not superheroes. We are not made of stone. Um, that we have faults, and we didn't spring out of the ground the moment you were born. We had moments before you
Yeah.
came along, and all of those things make up who we are standing in front of you right now.
And this is why you're able to give pearls of wisdoms down,
Yes,
now. Right.
yes,
That is
yes.
exactly why.
Yeah, mama's pearls.
Mama's pearls.
Mama's pearls. They don't just hang around your neck.
No. I'm gonna actually when we get to your pearls of wisdom at the end, I'm gonna
Hmm.
allow you to tell that story about the mama's pearls because it's a really sweet
Hmm.
it's a really sweet story. So
Yeah,
I think that other people enjoy knowing that how that came about.
yeah.
Um, so at uh, so we're gonna look past and go to about the age of 36.
Okay, yeah.
This
Um,
a big moment in your life that something took place too.
yeah. at 36, my husband and I of 20 years called it quits. I actually found out he was cheating on me with a girl that was the same age as our oldest daughter, or my oldest daughter. But he'd been raising her since, just like me and my stepdad, since she was about 6 months old. He stepped in as her dad. But now I found out he's cheating on me with a girl her age, and I was like, nope,
Yep.
done,
Good.
done,
Good. Right.
done. Not this one, honey.
Yeah. High
No, no,
five. I
no, no,
love that. You got the wrong one. High
no,
five. High
baby.
five.
You don't cheat on this.
No. There you
I
go.
had I had been through him abusing me, drug addiction. He had cheated on me before. I had been through numerous surgeries for him. I worked 3 jobs so we could keep our house and our car when he got injured. You don't cheat on someone who does all that.
No.
There's something wrong with you
Yeah.
internally, if that's okay with you. And how
Yeah.
do you step away from 5 children and a 20-year-old marriage with a 20-year-old girl? So anyway, no.
Yeah.
I went back. I went to Oklahoma. I left California. I went to Oklahoma to be with my sister. And then I found out my youngest daughter, was pregnant. So we came back to California. And she had my granddaughter in 2007.
Is that
And
your
I
first
ended up,
grandkid?
yes, she's now
Oh.
13. Um,
Oh. Oh, she's
yeah.
in the awkward stage. Uh-oh.
Oh God. And she lives with me now too. So,
Woo!
but
God
yeah.
bless you, baby.
Oh, just when you thought you was done.
Right.
Um,
Just keep on reeling you back in. Reeling you
oh
back
God.
in.
So after I ended up with her in my care, I decided, I really need to do something about this. I went back to school because with my ex-husband, he said I didn't need to finish my education. He was always going to take care of me. I didn't have a driver's license because anywhere I needed to go, he would drive me.
I feel like he tried to keep you under his thumb.
He did.
Like he
And
purposely kept you not being able to be independent just to
yeah,
make sure that you were dependent on him.
yeah, because I fell in love with Pinup when I was like 21. I visited my grandmother and I saw some photos of her and I was just like, oh my God. And I looked up to my grandmother. She was one of those safe places I had as a kid. And so I started like trying to model myself after her and a little bit of Mae West. Um, so he always had a problem with that. He was always jealous. I couldn't
Because you were
dress a certain way.
gorgeous.
I couldn't dress a certain way.
Yeah.
I was a singer, but I could only sing when he was around, which
Because
he
he
never
knew he
wanted
was
to
doing
do.
wrong. He knew he was
Yeah,
doing you wrong, so he was self-conscious with you
yeah,
going out there looking good because he knew what he was doing.
and he always had a way of making me feel small. Like he'd always tell me, "Yeah, you're smart, but you're not as smart as you think you are." And I was like, "Yeah, I am." So, so I went back to school. I went back to college. I was chasing my nursing degree and ended up with 3 degrees, not the nursing one. They ended up pulling my funding for that. I couldn't work and take care of her and pay for everything on my own. So I ended up with psychology, science, and liberal arts degree.
Wow.
So,
You
and
don't
then
know
I
how to
also
do
got a
nothing small, girlfriend.
no. And then I got my driver's license and I bought my first car all by myself. Um, and then let's see, I was like 40.
Oh, yes. I love the 40 because happy
Yeah.
birthday to you.
Oh yes, honey, 'cause that's when I met the love of my life.
Yes, you did, honey.
The man that I'm with now, and there are not enough adjectives to describe the man that this
Oh
man is.
my God, that's beautiful.
He's giving, generous, sweet, kind, understanding, supportive. I I don't know what I finally did. I don't know what I finally did to make the universe finally see that I deserved the man that I have now. Somehow all the stars aligned and the universe finally said, you know what, you've been a good girl. You've done everything that you were supposed to do, despite everything that was done to you. And here, finally, is my Steve.
Oh, that is like the sweetest story.
I can't, I don't care how many times I talk about him. I get choked up because
Well, honey, you've been through the ringer. Men in your life have not been somewhere for you to be safe and secure and
yeah,
comfortable. To find someone who you feel safe with and who really loves you and takes care of you in the way that you need to be taken care of, that's a magical thing.
it is. And I did not, I mean, I have been married for 20 years. My stepfather was abusive. My first husband was abusive. To find a man who is like him, I thought they did not exist.
Right.
I had no clue love felt this way,
Hmm.
that love like this was possible. Um,
Oh, wow.
and we have been together 8 years, together, like made it official 8 years ago. And we have never had a fight. We have never had an argument. He's never made me feel small or that I wasn't worthy. Um, he enjoys the fact that I read books. He's never made me
He
feel.
celebrates you. He
He
celebrates
does.
what you are accomplished. He celebrates that you see, that you're
He
smart,
does.
that you're
He
beautiful. He
does.
celebrates that. That's what you needed. I'm
Every
so
day when every day when he calls me, the first thing he says to me is, "Hello, gorgeous." How many people do that? Every day,
happy.
6 times a day. He calls me gorgeous.
Well, let me tell you, I actually have on one of my notes, like right here, it says, hubby is everything. It's
He
her
is
everything. I actually wrote that in my notes. So,
every everything that you could think you want in a husband, as a partner, as your life traveler with you, your life companion. He
he's the
is.
person you're going to grow old with. You can feel it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll probably die within 20 minutes of him.
Oh.
It's just the way it is.
Well, let me say, to kind of like speed up, fast forward, your husband's very supportive in the lifestyle that you're in with the pinup community.
He
And
is.
I know you shared with me that your sister passed soon after falling in love, meeting your husband, and
Yeah.
you actually went back to take care of her for a little bit because
Yep.
she was suffering with cervical cancer, stage 4
Yes.
cervical cancer. And because you do have a little bit of a background in medical and stuff like that, and you took care of your grandparents, you went back home to kind of, or take, you went to your sisters to kind of help take care of her.
Yes.
And unfortunately, she did pass away, which I send you my deepest condolences. I know you guys are really, really close.
Yeah.
But that same year when you came back, there was another defining moment in your life.
Yes. Um, Not long after I came back, let's see, she passed away in January of 2012. My husband and I made it official in March, that we were, to be together. Uh, July every year in California is a huge car show called Midnight Mass. It happens in Woodland, and I have been living this life solo as a pinup on my own since, like I said, 21. And I went to this car show with him, and he had no idea of the life. He actually had professed to me he wasn't sure he could do all this. We went to the car show, and I felt like I had come home. There were so many supportive, sweet, kind, helpful people with a heart for their community. Um, as I said, I've always had kind of a house full of kids, even with having 5 of my own. I've always had a need to help other people in my community. And I found the first group of gals that I ever became a part of, they were huge with charity work. And I felt like I had finally met my, what do you say, my tribe.
Tribe.
And I felt like, oh my gosh, where has this been my whole life?
Yeah.
So now I'm with an entirely different group, but yeah, that year was really pivotal for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, with everything Pinup, and of course the lifestyle is just this community, and this is another reason why I'm kind of doing these pearls of wisdom, because I know there's other young ladies out there, all different ages, from preteens to teenagers to young adults. You're going to sometimes hit these roadblocks, and this community, there, I mean, one of the pinups put it best, like there's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad apples, but there's a lot of good apple pie. So
Yes.
out of it all, you're gonna find more delicious apple pie in this community than the bad apples, because the bad apples get weeded out real quick.
They do.
And knowing someone like Rose, that maybe you guys cross paths with someone, or you cross paths with this woman right here, this is why I love this community, because of these pearls that she's going to share with us. Just to kind of give you a little bit more background about Rose before we get to her pearls of wisdom, tell us about some of your accomplishments in the print world. Like, what was your first contest you ever entered?
Oh, the first contest I ever went to was, or the first one that I participated in was actually called Spring Fling, and I took first place. And then, gosh, there's been so many. I'm kind of old hat at this. I placed in Miss Nostalgia, and I'm also Miss Classy Chassis 2019.
Ooh.
I just took that one last year. My crowns are on display in the living room, of course, but let's see. Yeah, Spring Fling 2014. Placed in Miss Nostalgia in 2019, and I took first place in Miss Classy Chassis 2019 as well.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
definitely, like we talked before, get me some of those pictures. I definitely want to share some of your pinups. I would definitely want to see some of those crowns. Take a picture of your bookcase in the living room of
Oh,
all your
yeah.
crowns and sashes. People love that stuff, Rose. We got to see it. We're girls. We want to see the sparkly bling bling.
Of
Okay?
course.
Of
Of
course.
course.
We get distracted.
There's
So
always something shiny.
there's always something shiny. So before you get to your pearls, now this is the part I really wanted you to share, your mama's pearls. Where did that come from?
Mama's pearls come from, it's funny because you, as a parent, you say things to your kids all the time, like you have to do this and you have to do that. And you think, especially when there's 5 of them in a house, that they're probably not listening to you. You're just an annoyance or whatever. But when my daughter turned in her senior project in high school, she closed her essay with something that I used to say all the time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're listening to me. And she said, of course, Mom, we're always listening. And so a couple years ago, my boys said something about Mama's pearls. And I was like, what? And they're like, those little things you used to say to us when we were kids. You know, you have all this stuff, and we don't care about any of those physical things, but things that you pass down to us, the knowledge that you pass down to us, are like little beads of pearls. And we just string them all together, and we can carry those with us, all of
Oh,
us,
see,
everywhere.
children aren't always assholes. They're sometimes really sweet.
They aren't, but man, you sure do feel like that. Sometimes I feel like I just repeat myself and
Yeah.
repeat myself.
I have two
And
teenage boys, and sometimes I feel like they just purposely ignore me, and I'll be like,
do
and
you
then the
have
next
2
thing you know,
boys?
I have 2 boys. I have a 19-year-old and a 17.
You are fit for life, girl. Let me tell you, I had 2 boys, and I worked hard for them 2 boys because I had 3 girls and then my 2 boys, and I wanted boys so bad. But my ex-husband, their daddy, loves his mom so much. And I told him, I said, I'm going to have me 2 boys, because if each one of them loves me half as much as you love your mama, I'll be set for life.
Oh,
And,
I
and
know. I'm lucky. They're
my
really
boys
good.
love me. My boys,
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
queen.
They pick on me because I'm small.
They
I'm only
do. They
5'2" too.
do.
So
They
they pick on
do.
me.
Both my boys are 6 feet tall, and they love to lean their elbow on my head.
Yes, or pick me up, lift me up. I'll be like, put me down.
But Lord, don't let this eyebrow go up and and have me looking
Right?
like
Oh, they
I'm gonna
know.
pinch
Oh,
you.
they
They
know.
will run.
They get that look. They
They
know.
will run. I've never hit my children, but those 2 boys will run out in the street to avoid me. I've never raised a hand to my kids, but those 2 boys will try to get out the door before I can get off the couch.
Yep. Yep. Well, this is the part, Rose, where I'm just gonna give you the stage here, and you're going to be able to now share one of your mama's pearls with
Uh,
the entire community here of Pinup Beauty. So
okay.
take it away.
Well, I have 2 that I say all the time. Um, Never be less than what you are. People will try to tell you who you are, but you have to strive to be never less than what you are and who you believe inside of your heart to be. Never catch yourself being less. And the second one I always told them when they were little was, you have to do the have tos before you get your want tos. You want a fancy
Ooh.
car, you have to get an education. You want lots of money, you have to get a job. You want to go outside and play, you better have to clean your room.
I
there was
love it.
always there's always a have to.
I'm about
Make
to go tell my kids some have tos too.
before before you start talking about, oh, I want this, I want that, you better make sure you got all your have tos in a
Oh
row.
wow. Because
Yeah.
you had
So
to. You
yeah,
had
I
to.
sure did.
You had
I,
to.
there were things I wanted, and the one thing I had to do was I had to get out.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
wow. Well, I'm that is a great place to end this. You had to get out, and that was your have to, and now look
it
what you're
was.
doing. You're
Yep.
you're amazing. I mean,
Um,
I've done, like I said, you are lucky number, I think 13 I told you.
13 or
14,
14. Yeah.
14. You're lucky number 14.
Woohoo!
And I am telling you right now, every story brings another, I don't know what to call it. It's a feeling of just pure, just happiness. And not
Mm,
because of like what you guys have gone through and shared. It's because you guys literally are in happy places. And it makes me feel so good for you because I know that it wasn't always that.
no,
So
but you
it
got to
makes me
push.
feel really good inside that you
Yeah.
guys are in happy places. And I'm so glad that you found your hubby that loves you even to your dirty draws. I'm so glad that he loves you like that. I'm
He
sure
does.
he's like one of them guys that would drink your bathwater, baby. He loves you
He
that
probably
much.
would.
Yes, he would. And I
Would.
love it. I love it.
He would.
So this was Rose's story, and like I said, that is a great place to finish this. I want to say thank you for coming on my Pearls of Wisdom. Thank you so much for sharing your mama's pearls with me. And
You're
I mean, we're gonna link up. I'm gonna make it to California. This is gonna be a
yes.
because I've
Yes.
never been to California, and you said I might die of heat stroke, but I'm gonna make it out there.
Especially in July. Oh my goodness. Yes.
And you definitely come on over to Chicago because we got a really good pinup community out here too.
Oh, that would
We
be
will welcome
amazing.
you with open arms, honey bunch.
That would be amazing.
Yes. All right. Well, you hang on, Rose. I'm gonna sign out. Everybody
Okay.
else out there, thank you for joining in. If you guys haven't already, hit like at the bottom and subscribe. And if you guys have any questions for Rose, she has many more Mama Pearls. I promise you. She keeps a book of them and she writes them down. So she has them like at the ready. And if you guys have any other questions for her, definitely drop a comment. I'm sure she'll be willing to help and answer them or anything. And thank you and bye.